And we are on. Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports Unhinged. I am Mo and I'm joined by Coach and Yujita. Week 8 coming ahead in the NFL. We've already had the Thursday night game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, another loss. I mean, you could have argued that this was the game to save the season. They're down to 3-5. In a division that is quarterbacked by Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton, and PJ Walker. So let's start with
big names.
27-22 at home to the Baltimore Ravens. Yujita, is the season over for the Buccaneers, and is this the lowest point of Tom Brady's career?
Well, you know what? I hope it's not season over because I want to see more of this. I want to see him being more pissed and, losing it. And we all know why he's losing it, but it looks all kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, from the way they're playing, the way Tom Brady is not comfortable. We saw it last week. I didn't really catch the game, yesterday's game too much, but he doesn't look comfortable at all. That O-line, I mean, I don't think there's a connection between him and that O-line. And you even see guys like Evans and Godwin, they're not getting, he's not hitting them cleanly, and they're also being covered a lot. And it's a difficult season already for them. I don't see how they really get out of this. It's tough. We could be seeing the end of an era. Yeah.
History, Max Kellerman was very famous for saying, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, saying that Tom Brady was going to fall off a cliff. I mean, it came about 8 years late. But I think we're finally witnessing. Now, before we talk about this game that just happened with the Ravens, let's not forget that there was a game against the Carolina Panthers, who have no business winning any games in this NFL from now till the end of the season, 21-3. And Coach, you could see the tone being set at the beginning, the first throw of the game, Tom Brady to Evans, completely open, and he drops it. And they never recovered from there on. What is your take on this?
Well, my goodness. I actually like Tom Brady. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a winner. At times, I think he's very humble, and that's kind of what you want as your team in the locker room. But at the same time, my goodness, they got to be able to run the ball at some point, don't they? More than 6 or 7 times a game, more than 50 yards a game. Even if you take out sacks, they're still less than 45.5 yards per game in rushing. That's the least amount since they started keeping tallies on statistics in games. I don't even know what to say to that, right? You got to find a way to win the game. And at the end of the day, they can't find a way to win the game. They look pretty good. I watched the whole second half this morning.
He did pass for 325 yards. Yeah. He only got 1 touchdown. So he's doing it in the air. Maybe it's the running game.
They threw it well, right? They did. They threw it well. Baltimore's defense didn't play great. In the second half, it was like the game. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe Bugs, but no. Roadrunner and Coyote. Yes. Right. That's exactly how I looked at it. He's throwing it, and the defense is like sticking out their tongue and like, ooh, look at me, and then batted the ball down. Or, I don't know. Just something's off. We can blame it on personal life because I've seen that happen even in my coaching days of high school because it can affect you. Poor guy. Man, I do. I want him to win. I don't want him to go out like this.
I mean, the guy's done everything right throughout his career. He's taken the pay cuts to make sure he has good teams. He's won 7 Super Bowls. He's the greatest of all time. But at this point,
they suck, don't they? They just absolutely suck.
They're just terrible. I mean, they went one season too far.
They won one more game than the Carolina Panthers. What does that say?
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
It is. I have nothing to say back to that. Yeah.
Coming back to Coach's point about the run game, I mean, you got Leonard Fournette. Is Tom Brady just trying to prove himself with this passing game? What if he just keeps it simple, get the run game going, use some play action stuff,
Yeah,
could be a better deal for him.
That's a good point, Yajitha. I was watching a little bit in the third quarter, and you know me, and I look from a coach's point of view. There were about 10 plays in a row. He didn't check out of a play. Not one check out. Not call a play, move the running back over. No checkouts. So that means he's like, F it. I'm just running the play that they call.
That's it.
Lines. Right. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's go. So I go back to what I said in the last podcast. He's just not having fun. He's going through the motions. It's a job now.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Oh. And, to think that, I mean, I don't know, maybe the argument I made at the beginning, he's 3-5 in a division with Mariota, Dalton, and PJ Walker. That could be used as an argument to say that the season is not over. I mean, he could still recover.
He probably might get in the playoffs.
Right? They might just waltz in straight to the playoffs. But I'm looking at their schedule right now. I see the Niners there. I see the Bengals. I see the LA Rams. I see Seattle. There are some tough games. I mean, there's only so many Carolinas that you could play in a season, right? And you got to still win those. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a, I don't know. I don't think it's season over, but to lose your family, potentially lose your family over this.
We can't talk about him without talking about the guy in Green Bay.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that.
Bad man.
Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers, 3 in a row, lost to both New York teams, and then went to the nation's capital, to the Washington Commanders, to go down 21-23. I don't want to even talk about the losses. I want to talk about the press conferences, because we addressed this last week, and he seems to have doubled down on the comments that he made the week before, where he said, he went out and called out his team, basically. And he said, if people are not making the plays or they're making mistakes, then they need to not play. And we need to start cutting reps. And he just doubled down. I don't know, Coach, to go publicly as one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL in recent history, to go out and call your team out in such a public way 2 weeks in a row. I mean, we've addressed Aaron Rodgers, leadership kind of skills before. This has to be a new low, because this is not the Aaron Rodgers we're used to from 2 years ago, where he would just tell everybody, relax, we're going to sort this out. Keep the public kind of statements a certain way and maybe address things internally. What do you think about that?
So I've read a couple of blogs, and I've watched a couple of, what do we call them, pundits? Is that what we call them? Yeah. They think that it's a little bit of a media circus for him to put all the pressure on him, or they're only talking about him to take a little pressure off the team, if you will, or the offensive not ability to accomplish offense. They're really just kind of looking at him and thinking about, hey, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers, so that the team, it's all on him. So I like that point of view. I wonder if
reverse psychology.
I wonder if he's not playing that game a bit. You can only play that game a bit if you can stand up on Sunday and play football. And
they've got the Buffalo Bills coming up. I mean, you want to do that on the eve of a Buffalo Bills game?
They're in trouble, aren't they? Mike, if you can't win a game against the Washington Commanders one way or the other, Heineke, is that his name? I love that last name for a quarterback.
Tyler Heineke.
I do agree to a certain extent. I never underestimate Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he does anything off the cuff. I don't think he does anything without thinking about it on what it might mean for a statement or for a media buy or whatever. But I definitely wonder if they're in as much trouble as the Brady Bucks.
Well, I understand that point of view, and especially it's a good point that you make about Aaron Rodgers being very particular with his words. Have you been vaccinated? I've been immunized. We remember that, right?
Yeah.
But I'd have to disagree with your take here, because I've been watching Aaron Rodgers throughout the offseason. I saw him in the Joe Rogan podcast, and the way that he's talking, he has kind of almost elevated himself above the team and is no longer leading by example, I don't feel. You've got a receiving core there that is, they're rookies, right? You cannot hold me to the same standard as Aaron Rodgers when I'm a rookie. You need to elevate me. What does it say about you, back-to-back MVP, to come out here and just call people out that way, right? I think he's, especially, it was one sentence in the press conference that really made me think this way, is when he said, society these days has a tough time hearing the truth. And I was like, all right, you're not on the Rogan podcast, Aaron. Like, stop it. You're becoming a diva. I thought I'd have to wait past Halloween to see Mariah Carey, but I'm seeing him already. Like, enough is enough, right? It's time and you can do this. You could do this reverse psychology thing if you have a relatively easy game coming up, but you're most likely going to lose 4 in a row now. If it's not 5 in a row, I can't even remember, against the Buffalo Bills, the best team in football. So I think it's another one of these where the relationship is breaking down between him and the head coach with the team. He's not leading by example, and it's just another question mark on Aaron Rodgers.
So sorry to interrupt you, Jita. Before I forget, one of our viewers, shout out Coach, who's a guy I used to coach with. He said, Coach B, you're exactly right. I watched some of the games both last week and the week before, and he is almost set one look and then throw it out. He said he is completely out of the rotation, and he is completely just throwing it off. So I completely agree with that. Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, because you said that last week, and I actually watched it carefully. He goes on first read. It doesn't matter whether it's covered. There's no progression, nothing. He just goes on first read. And then I think he said something like guys aren't afraid to lose their jobs as well. I think I don't know which podcast or whatever. Yeah. So, look, it's your duty. If they're not doing well, then you take the lead role.
You're the back-to-back MVP. You elevate the team.
Yeah, and you get them going, right? And you get them going. And I guess, like, go to guys like Brett Favre and stuff, they'll be screaming at the benches and stuff. Let's go, guys. It's not what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think I don't mind these statements being made behind closed doors, where he says, all right, if you're making mistakes, then you don't play anymore. We need to cut your reps. You can motivate the team that way behind closed doors, but to go out there and just, it's becoming a media circus in Green Bay.
Demotivating everything.
He doesn't have the rep yet. He's not there.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we see him retire? Do you feel that he's losing the love for the game? Is there any sense of that?
No, I think he wants to get paid. I think this is a way out of Green Bay. He'll be restricted after this year. There'll be an offer sheet. Green Bay's, I think, is very close to sayonara. I would be interested if we would have some feedback from a few of our Green Bay listeners. Darla, what would you say here?
Right.
I just wonder, because I do have a few friends here in Dubai who say, man, Coach, you're so right. This guy, he's a diva. I'm tired of the diva. I'm tired of the diva. I'm tired of the diva. I'm fine with the diva when we're winning, but gosh. So maybe. I don't think it's close to retirement. I think I don't think he is.
Got to be tiring for Green Bay fans as well. Not that we care, but
it must be tiring for Aaron Rodgers to be that negative. I don't know. I mean, I like a few years ago when they were down, I think, 1-4 or something. He told everybody to relax, and they turned it around and they made a playoff run. I mean, that's the Aaron Rodgers we're used to seeing. So I don't know. It's always about him lately. It's been about him coming across as the smartest guy in the room, And
a quick question here of everyone: do you think he has the weapons to be able to say relax and calm down and don't worry?
I think he can.
They have running game, but I'm not sure after that.
Devontae Adams, I think that was a bigger gap or bigger shoes. To fill.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Okay, let's move to teams that are in a more positive light. So here's a question now. In the AFC, it's very clear that the Bills and the Chiefs are leading the pack, right? Yujita, in the NFC, your Eagles seem to be the only ones that have the word consistency associated to them. Coming back now from a bye week to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 questions. First of all, how do you feel about the Eagles coming back from the bye and going up against Pittsburgh? And the next question is, who else in the NFC can we really look at and say that they have some kind of chance to put up a fight?
Well, look, for the first one, I got no issues. I think we're going to pick them apart. That's what I think.
I'm waiting for the week where you say something cocky like that and then you lose. I've been waiting for that for 6 weeks in a row, you know?
Well done on your English there.
All right.
English is your second language too. Pick F apart.
Pick it.
Can you pick it apart?
Thou shall pick it them apart. So I got no complaints. I ain't got no worries. I think it's going to be hopefully business as usual, but let's see how it goes. But coming back to the other teams in the NFC, I don't want to say, but Dallas and Giants, they look like
it's all in your division, yeah.
It's all in the division, but look, I'll tell you what, the Seattle Seahawks, this is what I'm going with. All right, they have sneaked up to 4-3. All right, they had some issues at the start, but my goodness, Geno Smith is doing some great stuff there, leading the league in completion percentage. It's crazy. And he's got weapons. I don't know if you guys saw in the last game, they kind of played a 13 personnel game, and they used those tight ends to do the run game. Was really fantastic. Defense has gotten better from what they were like a couple of seasons ago. It's progress as well. Started using Tyler. I mean, we had some, I think we talked about it. They weren't using Tyler Lockett and that well. Now they're doing that. So, and listen, Pete Carroll, man, the guy is what? 152 years old.
Yeah.
He's still running up and down that field. He's got that energy. So I think Seattle believes they made the right decision keeping him, getting rid of Wilson. And look, these guys are sneaking up and they're leading the West. And that West is already, those teams are slightly fractured in terms. Niners, Rams, even Arizona, they haven't still got it all together yet. So
I like your Seattle take. I like it, especially with Pete Carroll. We thought that's it. He was out of tricks. He lost his quarterback. He's so old. He doesn't have to dress up for Halloween to scare kids. I mean, he
still doesn't have to dress up.
He still doesn't, right?
He still doesn't. But the energy on that guy. I mean, he keeps the team going. It's crazy. Yeah, I like Seattle, man.
Yeah,
I think they're going to sneak up to something good here.
Now, Coach, before I direct the same question over to you, I want to talk about one team in the AFC. We're talking about the Bills and the Chiefs all the time, but how about those Cincinnati Bengals? I think we didn't talk about them enough last year, and they went all the way to the Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow has to be one of my favorite players in the NFL this year. They had a couple of weeks where they faced some troubles, but after that, him and Jamar Chase seem to have found their rhythm, And I heard one of these sound effects that were mic'd up in the last game, and Jamar Chase went up to Joe Burrow, told me like, dude, you're on point, you're hitting it. And he was like all cool and relaxed. He's like, yeah, I know. We're finally getting it. He seems to be in the space right now where he can make an impact. And be careful, because I think that those Bengals, if they run into the Chiefs, for example, in the playoffs, they could surprise us again. So I just wanted to put that out there as another example of a team that started off with a few troubles and I think are going to make a very good run.
I think Chase is injured, isn't he?
4 weeks out, maybe.
Yeah, I know. He's out. But in the last game, there was some really good connection.
So listen, there's no joke when you throw for 400 in the NFL. Yeah, when you're over 400, you got it going. I watched. There's a particular group on YouTube that my son asked me to watch, and they what they do is they identify the passes within a 2 meter, 1 meter, half a meter
kind of vision span.
That pass can be completed.
Right.
And Joe Burrow is like 91%, and everyone else, there's no one over 75%.
Yeah.
So he's throwing the ball within a half a meter of complete where it can be completed 91% of the time.
Wow.
I'm like, come on. Yeah, that's irate. And then everybody else and we identify, Tom and Aaron, which Aaron Rodgers is right up there. What's the guy in the Chargers? He's right there with them. Even Stafford, he's improved in that in the last couple of years. But he's like 16 percentage points better within a half a meter. Come on. Yeah, accurate, that's unreal. That's the width of my monitor as I'm looking at it.
Right.
Yes, and he's also leading the league in completions beyond 10 yards in the air. So it's not like he's Mahomes. Yeah, so he's throwing a little 6-out dump out, and the guys go 90 for a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah. Now Chase does that, but he'll catch it over 10. So I think Chase being out 4 to 6 weeks they will stumble. I don't want to say stumble. They'll struggle.
Yeah.
But listen, T. Higgins can take it. Boyd can take it. Mixon, they can throw some deep screens. They put him in the slot. What did I read? 31% of the time in the passing game or passing downs, Mixon was in the slot last week. Oh, wow.
I think they'll be okay. I think they've got some good chemistry going. Now, on the NFC side, who do you see challenging the Eagles?
How are we not talking about the Minnesota Vikings? They're 5-1. How are we not talking about the Giants? They're 5-1. Yes. Do we just not believe in Cousins? Do we just not believe in the Giants?
Well, we could talk. I mean, we have the game Arizona, Minnesota to talk about in the pick six. Yeah, but it's Cousins. I don't know. He'll always be kind of underestimated.
The Carolina Panthers are in second place. Yes.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans are 2 wins out of second place in their division. Get you some of that.
Yeah.
So maybe it comes down to parity. You know, there are so many teams. They're at 4-3, 3-4. If I had to pick, I like Seattle. I do like their coach. Always have when he was at USC. When I was a high school coach, he recruited a couple of our players. He didn't come to the school, but the messages that he was sending, it just was always positive. There was nothing about, that defeatist attitude. And so I think they knew when they sent Russell Wilson to the Broncos, there was something they knew that maybe we didn't. And
it's worked out.
Yeah.
Well, how about that? It's kind of working out. Yeah. So I just wondered, if you made me pick today and I look at the NFC North, I would go with the Vikings.
The Vikings,
I can't pick the Patriots. I mean, I can't pick the Bears.
No, they've got Cook, they've got Jefferson, they've got enough weapons,
Bears are 1 game away from a playoff season.
How about the Bears? So 1 week, I say they're not going to score 30 points.
They dominated. In the rain, by the way, in the water and the slush.
Oh, man, that was...
Against the New England Patriots. We have to have Andy on. Yeah.
We have to have Andy on to talk about the New England Patriots.
What's going on there.
Yes. Yeah, we got to have Darla on for Green Bay. We got to have Andy on for New England. We have to have those other 2 gangsters on for the Washington, whatever they are now.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Let's talk about injuries now. There are a lot of teams that have had injuries that could impact the whole season. I guess one thing I want to ask you, Gito, which team do you think is like last year? It was clearly the Baltimore Ravens. The injuries really derailed the whole season. And they weren't good because of injuries. If we had to pick a team right now or a couple of teams that we feel are facing the same issue, who do you have?
Yeah, look, I think without a doubt the Chargers. I mean, this is a team that we kind of picked might be going to the Super Bowl in the AFC, and that Herbert's rib injury, I don't think that's healed perfectly either. He's just trying to get things done, but other than that, they've had Rashawn Slater, J.C. Jackson, I don't know, a whole bunch of guys.
Keenan Allen out for
Keenan Allen for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Who's that?
Their wide receivers are still out the next.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams is out as well.
Yeah, Williams, Keenan Allen, all of them.
All of them are out, and then Brandon Staley is still trying to be aggressive. He's still trying to go on 4th. So I think more than anyone else is the Chargers who've suffered, and I don't. Even if these guys come back, I don't know how effective Herbert is going to be. Let's say we come that. I mean, they get to the playoffs, start getting defensive teams who are good at deep. I don't know how he's going to work out. So the Chargers for me definitely.
Coach,
I would say the same. I might even lean to the Niners, the 49ers on their defensive side.
Okay,
Their stars are struggling with injuries and coming back. I think their offense, it seems, has been okay, but their defense. But really, for me, the Chargers, they've gone to all these lengths of improving over the offseason their defense, the middle 2, the outside, and they just seem to be every time you look up, there's another injury. And then I think they've got one of their corners out this coming weekend, and then the safety's questionable. So I would agree with you, Jeetha. My goodness, did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
It's on record now.
He's 6-0. He's flying high. We have to agree with him. All right, let's talk about coaches. We've seen the Carolina coach get fired. I will not mention his name because the sooner we forget that he's ever existed in the NFL, the better it is for everybody. But coach, if you had to pick the next coach to go, or the coaches that are in the hot seat at the moment, who would you pick?
So before I forget, that coach that shall not be named, we'll call him Voldemort. He interviewed for the University of Nebraska head coaching positions in college, and he'll get it, by the way.
He'll probably do well. He's a college coach. I think nobody's ever doubted his credentials there.
To me, I think probably Arizona. I think Kingsbury's had enough time to get the people that he's wanted, the offensive ingrained into the system. I don't want to say Detroit, but he's up there. But I think for me, it would be Arizona. I just don't believe that what is happening there is on the timetable they want it to be. I believe in Detroit, they are, my God, they kept Matt Patricia 4 years. So they're not going to get rid of Dan Campbell in 1.5 or 2.5, even through COVID. So I would go Arizona for this one. If I had an outlier here, listen, I just wonder, can Atlanta keep their guy?
I think they've shown enough signs to show that they could be a good team.
Can Indy keep their guy? He's been through 4 quarterbacks now, one and done.
Yep.
So it's just my thoughts. I think Arizona's the next guy down.
Eugita, here's a question. Tomlin in Pittsburgh. I think it's for the first time he might not have his winning season or his 500 season. Could this be maybe? I wouldn't say that the Pittsburgh would fire him. Would he walk away for a fresh challenge after this?
Wait a minute, who's Philly playing this week?
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that could be the end of Mike Tomlin right there this week. But yeah, I mean,
how badly do you think you guys are going to beat them, man? This would be the perfect week for the Eagles to lose.
Is there a reason not to fly high at the moment? I don't know. I mean, out of the old guard that's left, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they seem to keep going no matter what. Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh has been winning ugly for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah,
and that may be a reason why he's still there. They definitely need to develop Kenny Pickett or whoever the quarterback is going to be there. So I really think he will stay on maybe a season or two and stay on at Pittsburgh as well. But on the hot seat, I completely agree with Coach Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, he's what, 7-15 in December, January. Lost, I mean, last season, what was it? They started at 7-0 and then lost the remaining 06, whatever. And then, I mean, you guys must have seen that verbal argument he had with Kyler Murray on the sideline the other day. So there's something going on there as well. That offense isn't kicking off as it is. So, yeah, Cliff Kingsbury and Nathaniel Hackett, man. I mean, this guy brought into Denver as an offensive mind, and there is nothing happening there. With Will, I mean, you can't say it's Wilson. Maybe he didn't fit into the system, but that's his fault as well. You got to develop that quarterback. Ron Rivera
on that one. I like that one.
Yeah.
No, Ron Rivera beat Aaron Rodgers. I think Brady and Rodgers have been saving a lot of coaches' careers in the last few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, on him. But yeah, with expectations, Ron, Dennis Allen in New Orleans. I don't know.
See, for me,
I got a one and done in New Orleans.
What do you think, Coach Lovie Smith?
No, I think they're on the right track. I do like that's a good call, actually, and honestly. But I think if you look at, what do we call it, the ship, I think the ship is level. I think there is a common denominator of this is where we're going to go and how we want to go there. I think they recognize they'll win the games when we can win them, and we recognize when we're under defeated or maybe on task on task to be defeated. But it's quite calm, right?
I'm surprised nobody named Todd Bowles, because I think, this guy has gotten quite a few chances at being a head coach, and he seems to kind of mess them up every time he gets that opportunity. Great as a coordinator, can take you to the Super Bowl, but I don't know, like with Brady and with everything that's going on in the Buccaneers as well, a couple more bad weeks and maybe he's on the hot seat.
Maybe I just was ignoring that because I like Tommy.
Yeah, Tom Brady. For me, I think that Detroit, although they kept Matt Patricia for a long time, they never really had the team that has enough talent to do anything. I think now with the new draft players coming in, the new rookies on the defensive side, with Jared Goff showing some really good offense in the first few weeks of the season, I think he might, like, I don't know, Dan Campbell, I remember in Hard Knocks, he gave that speech about doesn't matter if you have 3 toes and one left butt cheek left. It looks like they're a team with 3 toes and butt cheek left out of them right now in the last few weeks. I don't know. I think he probably be on the hot seat.
And if they win one more game, they are only one down from second place in that division.
What a division!
What a division! Yeah.
I made a mistake. Cousins is leading that division.
I made a mistake of putting Jared Goff as my quarterback in a fantasy league against the best defense in the league. It's the Cowboys.
Admission is the first step to recovery, young.
Yes. And
is that what they told you at the place?
No, and a lot of people that are with me in that fantasy league, they're like sending me messages like, "What were you thinking?" And I'm like, so much for a guy with a podcast can't play fantasy to save his life.
Marquez Callaway. Draft not too long ago.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's move on to the pick six part of the episode. As you guys know, pick six is a game between me and Yujita. We pick for 3 games every week against the spread and the over under. You get 1 point for choosing the correct outcome and 2 points for beating the expert. Coach, last week you lived up to your expert status by getting 5 out of 6 picks correct.
Is that a record?
Yeah, I think that's a record this season for sure.
This season, yeah. I had 5 out of 6 once last season.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Miami kind of saved me. I had one beat the expert there, so we ended up 4-4 on the week. Me and Yujita, we're still the gap is still the same from last week, 28-33. So you still have that 5 point.
Hey, that Miami game, it was a 1 point thing that could have got me an extra point right there.
I know. That was a good one. All right, let's talk about this week's games. We've got Miami at Detroit, 2 teams that we have spoken about. Coach, tell us, what are the odds there?
So I brought Miami back in because they are 0-4 against the spread away with Tua as their starter. At the moment, Miami is minus 3.5. Over under 51.5.
51.5. Okay, interesting. I'll keep this quite simple. Still the soft spot for Detroit. I want these Detroit to get all of their fingers and toes back. I'm going to go 21-27 to Detroit. They go back to their scoring ways. They've been very anemic in offense. Yes, it's Miami. Yes, it's Tyreek Hill. Yes, it's Tua. But Modern Warfare has just come out, and we all know that Tua is an addict. So I think he's been playing that game instead of looking at his playbook this week. Totally trivial
you
pick.
Generation Z people. I don't know what to do with you.
I'm a millennial.
I
so
do.
Don't, like I'm yeah. I don't know. 21-27, Coach. I mean, Yujita, go for your pick.
Yeah. Well, I think playing Call of Duty could actually hype him up for this game. I mean, look, Detroit has scored what, like 6 points in 2 games.
Yeah,
their defense is not going to be able to keep up with Waddle and Hill and Mostert. I'm pretty sure of that. Tua's back. They like him back there. I think I'll keep the score under, but I think they cover it easy, and I think it's going to be a bit of a blowout, 30-17.
All right,
Miami.
Awesome. Okay, Ooh. Coach.
So I'm going to go with Detroit on this one to cover. They're 6-1 against the spread at home in their last 7. So I'll go with Detroit to cover that 3.5. But I very much like the under here. I agree with everyone in that I don't see a lot of points. I still think Tua was rusty from last week, will be rusty from this week. Waddle and Tyreek Hill don't always have a lot of yards or a lot of points when they're on the road. So I'll go under here, and I'll go Detroit to cover. I didn't say Detroit to win. I said Detroit.
We
to
heard
cover.
it.
See, when you said Detroit, I kind of went like this, but then I remembered, no, I want double points. And that was the reason I picked Detroit, because I felt that everybody else is going to go Miami. Anyways, all right, let's go for game number 2. The Arizona Cardinals at the Minnesota Vikings. 2 teams that we talked about a lot this week. Coach, what are the odds?
Yes, we did. I just want to point out here, Mr. Cousins is 1-7 against the spread in his last 8 games when he is favored by more than 3 points. And the Vikings are -3.5, so more than 3 points. And the over-under here is 49. Arizona at Minnesota.
I thought I got my my short quarterbacks mixed up, because it's actually the Arizona quarterback that plays a lot of Call of Duty. So it's all right. So Yujita, you get us started with this one.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I know they beat the Saints the other night, and thanks to a couple of pick sixes, so it wasn't all Kyler Murray going crazy. So I'm not still sure that Cliff and Kyler thing is going to happen. I think Minnesota is on an upward tick there, and I like that trending with Cousins. So I'm gonna give it to Minnesota. They will win and cover. Both teams are scoring par 24-25. So I like the over in this 27-23 Minnesota.
27-23. Coach, what's the over under again, if you can remind me?
49. He did it by 1.
49. Okay, so
mental math.
I have this being again, just the Minnesota have Jefferson and Cook, and they've got so many weapons, and we've been underestimating Cousins for weeks on end now. I'm going to go for an easy win for Minnesota, 10-30. 30 to the 20-point gap. So a 40-point games is the under, but Minnesota to easily cover by 20 points. Coach.
So I find this ironic that no one mentioned Minnesota as the NFC people.
That's why I was smiling, when you brought it up.
And they're already 5-1, but both of you mentioned Minnesota's going to cover and they're going to win. Oh, go the Vikings!
Hey, who have Minnesota played and won against?
Nobody, but that's okay. They're all in the NFL.
They're all in the NFL.
Yeah.
No shit.
I actually like Minnesota as well to win the game. I'm not sure on the cover, so I'm going to give you guys a chance. I'm going to go with Arizona here to cover under that 3.5. I'm just not sure Cousins. I'm not sure that I think they might win the game, but I like that field goal at the end. Doink, doink. Maybe Arizona covers. Maybe they win. Maybe they don't. But I also agree it will be under because I just don't see it, especially I just don't see it. So okay. I'll go under and Arizona covering the 3.5.
And Arizona covering. All right, let's move on to game number 3.
My favorite one.
You had to do it, Coach. Green Bay and Buffalo.
I knew it.
I mean, the outcome kind of seems obvious here, but let's hear those odds because that's where the insult is to Aaron Rodgers.
9 Buffalo Bills are -12 or a 12-point favorite. The largest favoritism, or now
favoritism.
Flip it, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. This is the highest underdog he's ever been in his career. I think he's 107 years old, just short of Pete Carroll. And the over-under is 47.5. So the Bills favored, -12, 47.5 over-under.
This is going to be another beatdown for Aaron Rodgers and his boys. Buffalo's the best team in football. We don't even need to dissect it any further. 41-15, Buffalo.
I think he took a shot at your Eagles.
Oh, no. The Bills. I would take
it.
the Bills over the Eagles any day of the week. The Eagles are not the best team in football.
Bring it on.
You said that last 2 weeks ago with Dallas, so I don't know what to say here.
Where does it end? Jeez.
41-15, Buffalo. They cover easy, and it goes into the over. Yujita.
Love it.
Yeah, you know what? I know it looks easy, but this is a bad man.
Do it.
It is a bad man. All right? Listen, Packers are 0-6 against the Bills on the road. A couple of other things. McDermott is 5-0 after bye week. And then obviously the Bills are a much better team, but But this could be the one that Aaron turns up for.
And you've got a 12-point cushion. You've got a 12.
Exactly. So I'm not going to say the Bills are going to win the game. Yeah. But I'm going to be safe with the bad man and say Green Bay cover. All right. So look, whatever happens, their pass defense is still good. So if Josh Allen decides to abandon the run game and go with the pass, there could be some issues. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with a reason. Second reason, obviously, being Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, give me the Bills to win, but Green Bay covers 30-20, just the over.
All right, Coach.
Just over. I do like the over. I think this is one time where Green Bay will do their best and they'll scheme where they can probably score at least 20 points, as Ujitha said. I don't see it as a low-scoring game for them. But, man, Buffalo's pretty good, aren't they?
They are.
Bring it.
I can see them being 40, or I can see it being a blowout. I can see it being an embarrassment. So I'll take the Bills to cover the 12 and the over.
All right. Same pick here. Good stuff. Who are the Chicago Bears up against this week?
Ooh.
Yeah, so we don't need the tiebreak this week, but Chicago is at thine Dallas Cowboys.
Ah, yes.
The Cowboys, as of this moment, are minus 9.5 favorite. That's interesting. They opened 12, but they've all the way down to, as of today, minus 9.5, and the over/under 42.5. If I'm really thinking about this, I'll take Chicago to cover that 9.5. I think Zeke's going to be out, even though Tony Pollard can cover it. I also see this as a very low-scoring game, so I'll go the under. But I think Chicago will cover, Dallas will win, and the under 42.5 for me.
I think I agree with you completely, Coach. Ujita, what do you have?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw what Fields was doing out there last week. 12 design run plays. It was
really, really good.
I mean, the way he extended the plays, broke out of the pocket, even on a fumble.
Yeah,
he broke out through the New England in Foxborough. Come on, man. You had to let this guy lose.
How sweet would it be if they beat the Cowboys? If the miracle does happen and they go to the Cowboys?
I'm not so great in my house, but you guys go ahead.
Wow. I'm going to go all out and say not only do they cover, they're going to beat Dallas.
I'm
saying it. They got
Mark, if you are above Juicy Powers.
Yeah. Listen,
come on, Mark. Let's do this.
If they look at the Dallas tape from the Eagles game, try to shut down that pass rush and everything the way Eagles did, take care of the run defense. Yeah, I think there's a chance. They've got some pieces.
So imagine the headlines. We start talking about Cooper Rush coming back instead of Dak if they lose. It will be amazing. Let's see.
Before I forget, go watch a little bit of the Chicago game on Monday night.
Yeah.
And watch how they set him up for not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then throw 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Go watch it. Right? It wasn't I'm 1, 2, what do I throw? And I'm looking or I'm running. Watch it. Right? He's very decisive. So they've set him up not a 1. If the 1 is not open, the 2, and if the 2 is not open, very decisive of what's next. Okay. So what simplify. I don't
simplify.
know. I don't think it's simple.
Vaccinate.
I don't think
simplify.
I don't think there's any offensive in the NFL that's simple. But
right.
I think it makes him very confident and decisive. And there's only 2 games I've seen him this year doing that. The first game and this game, right? And so I do like where, first of all, he needs to be decisive against the Dallas defense, because if he's not, he's in big trouble. But I think they are setting him up for success. So I like that. On you, Mark.
On you, Mark. Yeah.
Listen, they did a good job coming. 11 days they had to fix whatever they did, and I think they've taken good time on that. Eberflus done a good job. Great offense.
It's what
Carolina Panthers win. Mark it here.
Let's see. Oh, Carolina Panthers win.
Yep.
All right, let's do this. I'm not even going to talk about that.
All right, I guess Houston
keep
wins.
It there. Yeah.
Houston does not win.
We'll call it an immunized simplification then. Thanks, guys.
Simplified immunization. All right, good job.
All right, guys, good job. This has been Sports Unhinged. Like, follow, share, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.